A man was walking down through the woods one day and he saw a sign for woodcutters wanted. And the man, he was looking for a new direction in life, something different to focus on, a new path to take, if you like. So he thought that would be a fantastic job for me, something to get my teeth into, something to really have a go at. So he went down to the foreman's office, knocked on the door, and said, "I'd like to apply to be a woodcutter." And the foreman looked at the man and said, "Have you been a woodcutter before?" And the man said, "No." But the foreman could see the enthusiasm and the motivation in the man's eyes and said, "Why not? Let's give you a go." So he took the man out to an area in the forest and he said, "This is your area, and all you have to do is cut down as many trees as you can." And before he left, he gave the man a nice, big, shiny, sharp axe. And the man took it with such enthusiasm and gusto they got straight to work. And the foreman came by at the end of the week, and the man had cut down 75 trees. 75. And the foreman said, "That is amazing. That's a fantastic number of trees to have felled in a week. Even veteran woodcutters would not fell that many trees." And the man went home that weekend so pleased with himself, so overjoyed, came back the following week and put exactly the same effort in as he had the week before. However, that week he only managed to fell 60 trees. And the foreman came round and said, "That's still a really good number. Keep up the fantastic work." So the man thought, "Right, I'm going to do better, I'm going to do better." Came back the following week and really went for it, and only cut down 50 trees. And the foreman came round and said, "Well, 50's okay, but we'd kind of expect you to be cutting down a few more." So the man went home that weekend and said, "Right, I need to do better, I really need to do better, this isn't good enough." Came back to work the following week and he went for it. He started early, he worked late, he worked through his breaks, he put every ounce of effort, motivation, enthusiasm, energy he had into cutting down as many trees as he could. But by the end of the week, he'd only felled 35 trees. And he knew that wasn't good enough. And he knew what was about to happen, so he thought he'd do the honourable thing and go down and hand in his axe. Just give it up, because obviously he wasn't good enough. So he went down to the foreman's office, knocked on the door, went in, and said to the foreman, "Look, I've tried my best, I've put my energy, motivation, effort into it, and I just can't cut down any more trees." And the foreman said, "I understand, but it's a shame because I can see how much effort you put in, but we really need to be cutting down more trees." So the man then handed the foreman the axe, and the foreman reached out to take the axe. But the foreman paused for a moment, and he looked at the axe, and he looked at the woodcutter, and looked at the axe. And he turned to the woodcutter and asked him a question. "When was the last time you sharpened your axe?" And the woodcutter sort of stood back in surprise and said, "I meant to sharpen my axe?" And the foreman smiled, went over to his office desk, pulled the drawer open, took out a sharpening stone, and handed the axe and the sharpening stone back to the woodcutter and said, "Why don't we give that one more go?" Hello, my name's Paul, and I've been involved in personal development for nearly 30 years. An NLP, hypnotherapy and life coach practitioner for 10 years, and now a trainer in NLP, hypnotherapy and life coaching. And like the woodcutter, at times we all need help sharpening our skills. We put effort into things, we want to achieve things, we have goals we want to get to. There's places we want to go in life, and sometimes it just feels as though we just can't quite get there. We feel maybe like the woodcutter, we're just not good enough, that there's something missing. And often it's not there's something missing, we just need to sharpen our axe. We need a few more tools. We need something else in the toolbox to pull out at that time. Another thing is we don't have to wait until we're at crisis point before we reach that toolbox, get some coaching tools, and help us move our life down the path we really want it to take. And coaching offers some fantastic tools where we can plan and look at what we want to achieve, and not only want to achieve, but how do we get there, and look at where we want to be, not just here and the now, not back in the past, but where do we actually want to be? If you'd like to know more about coaching, then why not click the link below, download a free PDF on some coaching tools, and even why not come along to our free 90-minute webinar on coaching and learn some valuable tools. It's a practical webinar where you will learn tools and things that you can start right after the webinar or even during the webinar for you to be able to take your life down that path you want to go.